Hi everyone, Dr. Zuckerman here, sort of responding to our first week's discussion boards and getting us started for week 2. It was really nice to meet you all. One thing I'm going to suggest is I noticed that some of you have an avatar in Canvas and some of you don't. It's really nice to have a face to go with people's names, so if you want to upload a photo of yourself, that would be really helpful for me. It can kind of help me visualize and keep track of folks. I really enjoyed sort of the discussion of the idea of urbanicity in our schools and coming from very different perspectives. We have folks in the biggest urban district in our state, and we also have folks in much smaller rural districts. I think it was interesting that some of you in the smaller districts actually felt that your schools were more urban than some folks in the urban districts categorized by the National Center of Education Statistics, which is the measurement definition that I would usually use. I think part of that reflects the fact that rural communities in Nebraska and across the country are becoming more and more diverse, bringing with them all sorts of complex challenges for communities that may not have had to deal with different religions or languages in the past. Let's see, and Jamie questioned whether rural schools have some of the same challenges as urban schools. I think rural areas do have poverty, although it can be, I think, more easily hidden. And that some of the poorest places in the U.S. actually are in rural places and not in inner cities like New York or Chicago. And increasingly, rural areas are no longer immune to some of those challenges that we've seen. Single-parent families, folks working more than one job to keep their head above water, immigration, traumatic events. Although you may find, depending on where you are, that there are different resources and different protective factors outside of schools that are also going to contribute to our school culture inside the building. So hopefully we'll get to discuss more of that as we're going forward. And hearing about your different school settings. This week, we're going to jump right into culture and beliefs, values, and vision and how they shape our school. You're going to be doing a small assessment of the culture of your school, analyzing the results, and comparing them to your own observations of your school's culture. You want to pay attention to whether there's agreement or not across the folks who participated, and if there is an agreement, why might there not be agreement? You're also going to write a vision statement that identifies your top values in education and equity and your vision for achieving educational equity based on those values. So I was sort of thinking about my own, and I would say my top values are dignity, autonomy, fairness, differentiation, and acceptance. I believe that when we accept our students as they are, respect their dignity as people and individuals with unique things to contribute to our classrooms and our world, they'll feel more like they matter and that they're important, which in turn supports their ability to learn. I also believe that autonomy and choice are a key feature of our dignity as human beings, and that students learn better and often behave better when they're provided with opportunities to choose what they want to learn and how they want to learn it. And certainly that's a challenge in an educational policy environment defined by standardization and assessment. Likewise, I believe that we as educators need to meet our students where they are and leverage their strengths and interests to help them learn. And lastly, that fair is not equal. Fair is giving students what they need when they need it, while also being consistent in our expectations for their behavior and their work. And I believe that when we put all of these pieces together, we can help all students achieve while respecting their individuality, and sort of like those unique contributions that make kids who they are and not trying to put them all in a box. Those are based off of some of my own experiences, particularly as a special education teacher, finding that when I build those bridges in relationships, which I guess I didn't say relationships is one of mine, but relationships would be the other one. Building those relationships, respecting dignity, providing autonomy, being fair, all of those things help students excel in the classroom. So I think that's an assignment you are going to want to stash in a safe place. Your vision as a school leader is going to be something that you continue to work on and refine. I think for most of you, but not all of you, this may be your first class in the department. So it's something you're going to want to continue to revisit as you go on and as you enter leadership roles. Looking forward, for the following week, you're going to need to choose a chapter from the Brooks and Witherspoon text. I've linked a file that has the chapter titles so that you can choose one that interests you. There's a discussion board that you can indicate your choice. I want you to sort of work together to make sure that every chapter has at least one person. I think we probably will have some that have duplicates. That's okay, just so long as every chapter is covered. Because the idea behind a jigsaw is that you get exposed to more material without having to read it yourself. So let's see. I had some more notes. I also would suggest that you read the introduction, all of you. It'll give kind of some context for the text and a little introduction to what your chapter is about. I am having the chapters from the Gurnett and Whitaker text scanned. Those will be linked. Hopefully they should be linked by Friday afternoon. I can't link the Deal chapters. I only have a digital copy of that text. And then for the discussion boards, again this week you're going to provide one summary of your discussion. And this week I want you to focus on the similarities and differences on your stories. You can choose to rotate this responsibility in your small group. You can choose to work on it together as a Google Doc that you then link or copy and paste or otherwise collaborate. It's up to you guys to figure out how you want to work together. That's it for me. I'm looking forward to getting your assignments this week and reading your vision statement.